I thought I would add that here just for craps and giggles here. So welcome in everybody. Joe Quills here with you on this Thursday night here. And it is a big weekend down at Citizens Bank Park. The Atlanta Braves and the Phillies are in town for a four-game series at CBP. Phillies just took a 5-4 lead on a home run by small dick Nick Castellanos. And I said, because it is the running joke that there's a major news story that he tries to divert from and he hits a home run. So I said right before the start, small dick Nick. Okay, who died? And somebody said Trump did. I'm like, yeah, we couldn't be that lucky. But, but if you want to vote for him, you can do whatever you want. Me personally, I will never tell you who I vote for. Um, but I will tell you, make your vote count, you know, but, and it's not because of Trump the person, it's the people who are like, "Duh," all the time. But anyway, but yeah, that goes long before Trump, but we'll talk about that another time and away from here. So, anyways, good to be here on this Thursday night. We are one day closer to the weekend, a 3-day weekend for me. I'm gonna have a special announcement this week in regards to next week's schedule because yours truly needs a couple days off next week from here. So just to let you know that. So also all the stories that you hear on there on the bottom of the screen there. Um, we're also going to have a little Philly fade action, yo. As I will give you a couple of games to play. We'll lock in those odds and VIGs and everything as well. Um, so hopefully we'll get you guys some more winners. And I had a winner again yesterday in my Quills Picks winners articles, but did not have one today, unfortunately. So I am at 15. I think it's 15 wins for the month. So there's 2 days left in the month. I think there's going to be four races combined. I think there's going to be three races for Saturday for also eligible, which is on at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific on the Bleacher Brothers channel on YouTube, on Facebook, and on X. Um, we are working on Twitch. Um, you know, AJ has a list of all the things he's got to do, and Twitch isn't as big a priority as some of the other behind the scenes stuff that, truthfully, I'm not worried about because I'm not going to say I'm not privy to the information, but I just believe, having been in the um, in the business world like I have, well, not to the business extent that AJ has, but I believe that you know, some things shouldn't be shared, and truthfully, I'm not even going to pry for information on that. So, let him do his thing to get people to watch and listen, everything to promote Bleacher Brothers. That's what it's about here, and I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with not knowing the information. All I care about, for the most part, besides promoting the site and stuff like that, I believe in a very tunnel vision with the stuff that I do here with you guys. So I'm not, I don't. I mean, if you said that you know something that I don't, I'll probably say, probably not. You're probably making stuff up, but I prefer not to be in the know on certain things, but in the know about things that are related to my stuff. But we'll get to everything here. So we got a big weekend here coming up, and you know, um, I may take a trip up the parks on Monday, but racing on the turf has been suspended. I did see that on the Daily Racing Forum today. Actually saw it on Facebook, which was just a sharing of the article. Um, let me see here. Um, so they suspended turf racing indefinitely until the course has been inspected and evaluated for suitability for racing, according to the Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Authority, also known as HISA. Um, HISA said that Parks Management told HISA officials that they had arranged for the Racing Services Testing Laboratory to test and evaluate the surface. In addition, members of the HISA's Track Surface Advisory Group are en route to conduct additional inspections. That testing laboratory is a nonprofit company in Lexington that conducts racing surface measurements. Um, they had initially suspended turf racing on Monday after local horsemen protested that the course contains holes in it and was in generally poor condition. During racing on Saturday, a horse suffered a fatal injury while racing on the turf course, and a parks trainer afterward posted a video on social media showing apparent holes in the course. And they had not run on the turf since July. It's in here somewhere. I think it was July 12th. And in this article, it also states that the turf course has been problematic in recent years. Um, um, Bob Hudd of the Pennsylvania Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association said the turf course has been a problem for 10 years. And he was highly critical of parks management and owners for failing to invest in new maintenance equipment or adopt procedures and protocols that will prevent problems from occurring in the first place. So um, I must have missed the um, I must have missed where the horse broke down. Now, if you were to go onto YouTube for Parks YouTube, or you go to um, TVG or Twin Spires or wherever, they will at the very least edit that portion of the video out, or they just may say the video is not available. So, you're probably not going to see the horse that broke down or anything like that. So I don't know. I mean, I vaguely remember a horse going down, but I thought it was on the dirt course and not on the turf. But either way, um, I can tell you that this summer, for the most part, has been extremely dry. I mean, before they stopped racing on the turf in early July, before they went on their summer break, that course was shit brown. Plain and simple. Shit brown is the best way to describe it. And, I thought there was an irrigation system, like the lakes would be used to, the water from the lakes would be to water the turf, but I don't know. But either way, um, so that puts the turf monster at Parks in jeopardy this year, I would think, because you only got 3 weeks to the big race. The big races at Parks, which I should be at. Um, but it's just so but at least they're doing something about it. Well, I don't know if Heist has stepped in because of the Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association or whatever. Or, I don't know if this is routine because Heist is a fairly new thing within the last 3 or 4 years, maybe five. But be interesting to see what they have, what happens as a result of this. And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't run on the turf again until next spring at the earliest. But um, but um, they do have a turf course that is unsatisfactory right now. They got to do something about it. I mean, even if it's one horse that breaks down, it's still one horse too many, in my opinion. So, um, so let me give me a second here, and we will continue on with the show here. I will be right back. I thought I muted everything, but I didn't. But we're back here, and I do apologize for that. I had to fix something on the one computer. I have it running doing something, so I had to take care of that. So let's get to the big news that broke earlier today, and that is Brandon Ayuk got signed by the re-signed with the Niners. The whole drama with that is over for now until he turns into a drama queen probably next year because he'll probably say, "Oh, I got overpaid. I outplayed my contract already," or something. Typical wide receiver prima donna stuff. But he agreed to a 4-year, $120 million deal. Wow. And that's a going rate of a top receiver, but you know it's going to keep him in San Francisco through the 2028 season. It's the same deal that had been on the table from the Niners since August 12th. Um, he joins Tyreek Hill as the fifth highest paid receivers in the NFL with an average salary of $30 million a season. So he got paid, and he can get paid right now because of the fact that Brock Purdy is making squat in terms of money because of the fact that he was Mr. Irrelevant 2 years ago. So you can actually with pay him the big salaries. And San Francisco has the advantage of having a cheap quarterback, cheap in terms of against the salary cap, so they can spend on weapons so that they can get him back. Um, so um, now the signing comes at when things got really contentious this week between the two sides. Um, Um, the Niners publicly declared Aiyuk healthy on Wednesday, while with Coach Shanahan and General Manager John Lynch saying they expected him to participate in practice because he's still in a contract. So he did not practice Wednesday or Thursday, opening himself up for the possibility of team discipline. But uh, but the agreement today ensures that Aiyuk can spend the next 10 days preparing for the season opener against the Jets because they open up on Monday Night Football. So, for nearly 2 years before the extension was finished, the Niners maintained they always intended to resign Aiyuk. Um, but it was in doubt because Aiyuk requested a trade on July 23rd. So, um, now, not long after that, the Niners were serious about trading him because, if he's serious about not wanting to be there, you get rid of him. So, um, so there was interest from the Steelers, Browns, and Patriots. The Patriots have backed out. Um, the Niners, Aiyuk evaluate their options. So not only did they have to satisfy the Niners' wants and needs for Aiyuk, they would have to satisfy Aiyuk's demands for a big contract. So while each of these teams were seemingly able to check one of these boxes, neither could do both, which helped Aiyuk and the Niners return to the negotiating table to work out their differences. So he's still going to be there. Um, he will be the now they have their best receiver for another run at the Super Bowl. They can keep their quarterback Brock Purdy as part of the team's primary offensive foundation for the next 5 years. So, and Brock Purdy's going to get paid next year. I got to work on that. I know what I have to do. I just got to find a program for it. Now, it took plenty of time and patience on both sides to reach this point today. Soon after the Niners lost the Super Bowl in February, Aiyuk said he would stay in San Francisco if it was the right move. So he was going to entertain offers. He was going to see what he could do. Um, Lynch, uh, duh, 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 duh. Just want to get the name right here. John Lynch said that I communicated on many occasions our wishes that he's here and part of the Niners for the rest of his career. We're working through that. I could say we're having good talks, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Huh. But a trade was going to need a substantial return, and some teams want to stock draft picks, some don't. Some are going to want a combination of things. So it was in the best interest that the Niners kept him. Now, this has been the summer of wide receivers getting paid. Um, now, um, the Eagles signed Devontae Smith to 3 year, $75 million deal. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4 years, $120.012 million. Jalen Waddle got 3 years for $84 million. Justin Jefferson, 4 for $130. And just the other day, CD Lamb got a 4 year deal for $136. So all the wide receivers are happy right now. But will they be in a year or two? Because, sometimes these wide receivers can be some major, major, major prima donnas. So, um, now here's an interesting fact here. This is the fifth straight year that the Niners have re signed one of their stars either just before training camp or during. George Kittle was signed in 2020. Uh, Fred Warner in 21. Deebo Samuel in 22. Nick Bosa last year. So they've done everything they can with these picks. So uh, now, it'll just be interesting to see if they can finish the job and get to the Super Bowl this year, which I have to come up with my picks for you because I that is a tradition unlike any other, just like the Masters. It's just that I get close with my Super Bowl picks, but I don't win the Super Bowl pick. But and the Phillies come from behind to win 5-4, and the Phillies go up 6 games on the Braves in a huge win down at the ballpark here, and we are one day closer to somebody um, somebody uttering the words made famous by the man, the legend, Chase Utley.
World champions. World fucking champions.
I had to play that again. So yeah, Phillies win, big win. They're up 6 games in the division. If you win one more game, you're guaranteed of ending the series at least at the same margin as before. But if you win 3 or 4, then you're up 8. You win all 4, you're up 9, and pretty much the division is locked up for the most part. And I'll say for the most part because we know what it's like to choke in the postseason, choke in the final days of the season. Take a look back at 1964. Google Phillies 1964 if you're not aware of that. And also, the Phillies came from 7.5 games back with 17 to go against the New York Mets as well. So the Phillies have been in both sides of it in the last 50 years, 50, 60 years. So it can happen from time to time. And the one thing I tell everybody is even though I should be excited, we have had situations where we live by the Philly mantra expect, hope for the best, expect the worst, plain and simple. So that's the case with that. And hopefully, you know, get a division title. You get a win in the divisional round. You get to the league championship series. You win that. You go to the World Series. You win the World Series. And then once again, you hear somebody playing the role of Chase Utley.
World champions. World fucking champions.
I had to play it again. So yeah, it was a good win here tonight, and hopefully the Phillies will continue with these wins here and get closer to that division title. Um, but there is one thing to worry about right now, and that is Alec Boehm right now. In the first inning, he he took a swing, and I think he hit a ball foul, and the bat appeared to shift in his hand a little bit, and he had a pain in his one hand. And if you're a baseball fan, you are familiar with the term hamate bone. It's a bone that's in your hand that it's a bone that has to be removed if it's broken in most cases. And I think we have to worry about that right now. But the one thing is with the Phillies, they have been very lucky with hand injuries because they've gotten hit numerous times. Um, they got hit numerous times in the hand and wrist, and nothing broke somehow. I mean, even Ranger Suarez got hit in the hand, and he didn't have his hand break. So the Phillies have been very lucky with injuries in terms of broken bones to hands and wrists. But you do have a, um, it's kind of like playing video games, and the game all of a sudden says, no, 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 no. You're getting too good right now. We're gonna dial things up a little bit just to mess with you. So, so that could be the case as well here. But the article I saw from Alex Coffey here on the Philadelphia Inquirer site, he was removed from the game Thursday in the third inning with left hand discomfort. Team said Boehm hurt his hand while taking a swing in the first inning. He was examined by assistant athletic trainer Christian Bermudez after that swing, but Boehm finished the bat, played third base in the next half inning, and then Edmundo Sosa replaced him at third base in the top of the third. Boehm will be evaluated further as X-rays come back negative. Boehm has hit 290, 343 on base, 462 slugging this year, but has struggled of late. But we'll see if hopefully his hand is okay, and I have a hand to offer if because I don't really well I do need my left hand but you do need to we'll see what happens with that. I imagine they're probably going to do an MRI tomorrow if they haven't said that already. So I'm sure they're going to look further uh, into this injury because he is a key cog in this team. Um, he has even though he's cooled off a little bit as the article mentioned, he does have. It just seems like almost every time he has somebody in scoring position, he brings them in. Um, so hopefully he will be okay after that injury tonight. Um, so I just want to check one other thing here before we get to the um, rest of the articles here. I did give you a pick on Tuesday night because I knew I wouldn't be on before the game started, but oh, now I gave you that safety pick. If you remember on Tuesday night, I gave you guys North Dakota State plus 10 because it was one of those cases where I don't want to give you the money line and have a situation where, Colorado comes back and they win by 2 and, it's like, Joe, you picked money line. What's wrong with you, dude? Something like that. But, you know, it's a safety pick. Um, you know, but I just really think that there is a lot of distractions in that locker room, a lot of distractions in that football program right now. And a team like North Dakota State is not a team you want to open up with, even if it is an FCS team, because North Dakota State has gone into FBS FBS stadiums time and time again and have pulled off the upset, except for that one night they played Arizona where I was sitting on a 6 leg parlay for like $1,500. Now, granted, the USC leg lost as well a couple years ago, but you gotta, you gotta, you know, Colorado just doesn't seem like. I think we're finally seeing. It may be that Deion Sanders is being exposed as a fraud. I think he was started to last year, and with the one article I mentioned about how the locker room was Grand Theft Auto last year, I could see that there is so much more that could leak out of that locker room, and I think that we are going to see that maybe Dion is in over his head at Colorado. But but once again, if he proves me wrong, proves everybody wrong, then so be it. But um, now one person I do not think that um, Tom Brady that Dion faced is Tom Brady. And Tom Brady's going into the booth with Fox this year. And if you remember, he is also a potential minority owner of the Raiders. Well, the NFL has mentioned restrictions if he is approved as a partial owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. He's going to be forced into unique and severe restrictions in his dual role as a Fox broadcaster, according to a presentation given by owners to the owners at Tuesday's NFL meetings in Minneapolis. Bank Boy, welcome in, man. Hope you're doing well out there. Um, Now, the league confirmed to ESPN because I print my articles off of ESPN for the most part. I know I should be using bleacherbrothers.com, but whatever. Uh, Brady will not be permitted to be in another team's facility, would not be permitted to witness practice, and would not be permitted to attend broadcast production meetings, either in person or virtually. Lack of access to coaches and players before games could be the most severe restriction. Those meetings at which a broadcast crew meets with the matchups, head coaches, and key players are often a lifeblood of insight for the telecast. So usually those broadcasters come in a couple days early, and they talk to the teams. And I think what they do is they talk to the road team virtually, and they end up coming to Philadelphia a few days early. So they do have some. Um, they do have interaction with the coaching staff, what to expect, who's doing well in practice, who's not, who's banged up, who's not, that sort of thing. So, um, so these rules which the league presented to the owners Tuesday on a slide called Brady dash broadcast restrictions potentially would affect only the seven-time Super Bowl champion and would not apply to other members of the Fox crews. And rightfully so, because if he is approved to be a minority owner, truthfully, it's a conflict of interest. But it's like, well, he had the Fox job and he had this and that. It's like which came first. Um, the owners have raised several questions about the conflicts of interest in Brady's potential role. Um, Aside from the access restrictions, Brady, if he were to become a limited partner with the Raiders, would be subject to other applicable policies common to other owners. Um, he would be prohibited from publicly criticizing game officials and other clubs. He would be subject to fines or even a suspension if he went too far. Um, I mean, even though he could, in theory, state that he disagrees with the call in the air. So he's going to be walking that fine line. Um, he would be subject to the league's gambling policy. Now, I don't know if he does gamble or not, but he did have a commercial or two with BetMGM. I know there was one last Super Bowl. Um, he would be the subject of the league's anti-tampering policies. He would be permitted only strict social communication with members of other clubs, according to the slide that the league presented. Um, but there is one thing here. There is a precedent to this if you really think about this. And, some people may not realize this, but uh, in 2017, Greg Olson called some games on Fox when he was out injured, including one against the Minnesota Vikings. Because the Vikings were an upcoming opponent of the Panthers, Olson wasn't given usual broadcast crew access, but um, Olson had worked on the top Fox broadcast team since his retirement. But Brady is going to be replacing him this year. Fox and the Raiders did not respond to ESPN's request for comments. Um, this may further complicate Brady's bid to become a limited partner of the Raiders. The deal is still not finalized a year later. Um, Now, owners and league executives have had questions about the selling price of his proposed 10% stake. The Washington Post reported in March that the discounted rates that Brady was due to receive concerned owners and about the conflicts of interest as a color analyst on a broadcast partner's top television team. So, the now, granted, I think the one thing that we are safe from seeing right now, and I think that this year we're good. It may be in a year or two. What would happen if the Raiders ended up being the featured game on Fox and he was calling the game? That's even more conflicting, if you ask me. Because, even though, like, for example, Joe Buck, he jokes around and he tells everybody that, oh, I just hate your teams. I mean, I'm okay with Joe Buck because I feel like Joe Buck gets excited at the moment, and if it's because your team just got destroyed on the touchdown, so be it. I'm okay with Joe Buck. I have no problems with him. Him and Troy Aikman have been together for a long time, and I think Joe Buck's a great announcer, whether you like him or not. Um, um, Now the bid right now, his bid to become a minority owner, uh, is stuck in the league's finance committee. If it clears the committee, the ownership stake must be approved by at least 24 of the 34 owners, and I just get the feeling it's not going to happen. Um, and he's in a 10-year, $375 million contract as an analyst on Fox. He retired in 2023, if you remember, and he took a year off and agreed to join Fox for the 2024 season. Personally, I wonder if Brady is even going to be good at the job. Now, I don't know if he actually called the game yet on the preseason because every time there was football on, there was something else I was going to watch. So, but this is the time of the year where I'm probably going to have three TVs going at one, or three screens going at once. I'm probably going to have the TV on Red Zone, have the laptop with the Phillies, and then maybe over here because this is an antenna TV that I have. Maybe I put the Eagles on there. I don't know. We'll figure out. But you know, but I don't know if he's really um, I mean, there is a major conflict of interest here, and I don't know how they can justify him being an owner and also doing this job. Now, maybe if he was doing local broadcasts in Vegas, if he was doing the radio broadcast, but he's not going to do radio broadcasts. He's going to be doing national because that's the way that the TV contracts are set up. Everything is national as opposed to baseball where it's all based on regionality and stuff like that. So, uh, but but I don't. I I really think that either we're going to get to a point in the road where Brady's going to have to decide Raiders ownership, Fox broadcaster. He's going to have to choose one or the other eventually. I think that's what's going to happen, and it's a question of what he wants to do. Maybe he knows something about Mark Davis that we don't know, where he may actually get the team in a few years. Um, but there is a major conflict of interest here, and I mean, they have to do something. But so once again, welcome in everybody watching on X, on Twitch, and on YouTube. I'm Joe Quills, and now one team that I doubt that Tom Brady will call that much this year, although he probably still has um, PTSD over, is the New York Giants. Now, the Giants did something that isn't done very often in sports, whether it's football or any other sports, and especially the way that they unretired the jersey number here. The Giants are unretiring the number one for rookie wide receiver Malik Neighbors to wear, the team announced yesterday. The sixth overall pick in the draft received permission from the family, the late Ray Flaherty, to wear the number. Now, Neighbors wore number 8 at LSU, but Daniel Jones wears that number. Neighbors wore number 9 this spring and summer, but that was always going to change with that being the number of veteran kicker Graham Gano. No Ganoos is good Ganoos with Gary Gano. The number 1 for the Giants was the first number retired in professional football history. Now, if you ever want to win a beer from somebody, use that trivia question. So, Neighbor said in a statement released by the team, "Thank you to the Flaherty family for allowing me to wear number 1 for the Giants. I understand the responsibility and will do everything in my power to honor the Flaherty family and this organization. I will wear this number with pride, great pride. Can't wait for the season to start." Now, about Ray Flaherty. He is a number one pick. He played end. He joined the Giants in 1929, and after 2 years uh, as a Gonzaga basketball coach, he returned from 31 to 35. He later became a professional football coach and is credited with the behind the line screen pass and the two platoon substitution system. He was inducted into Pro Football Hall of Fame in '76. Um, Neighbors' number has always been a topic of discussion since he joined the team. He always seemed to be looking for a single digit number before settling on number one. Now, if I remember back in the day, it basically was know your role. Know that some numbers are off limits because they are retired. Now, I never knew that that number was retired. I didn't even realize that, you know, I didn't even realize that it was even the first number to be retired. But I just think that the way sports are now, the way that this generation of athletes are now, they have no sense of knowing about tradition. They have no sense of history. And, I don't know how many numbers are retired by the New York Giants, so maybe there was a number crunch. Well, you can't wear number 8. You probably have it next year, but, you might have to buy all the number 1 jerseys that are out there. You might have to deal with that. You weren't going to wear number 9 because that's Graham Gano's. So, you know, I don't know what other numbers were available at the time. I could check that for you as it's 2017 North Dakota State at the half. Um, I'm just looking to see 2, 8, 6. Zero. Yeah, so those numbers were pretty. The single digit numbers were all taken up, but the one thing is, if you ask me my opinion, the worst thing the NFL did, well, two of the worst things the NFL did was going away from the way that they identify players on the field with the numbers. 0 for 19 is kickers and quarterbacks, and then 20 to 49 were defensive backs and running backs. 40s and 80s were tight end. You remember the whole deal. I just think the NFL did that. Well, they had to because of COVID, and you had to have so many people. You had to make sure people you had enough bodies to play. But but now because the genie is out of the bottle, now wide receivers can wear any number from 1 to 49, I think, or I don't know what the range is, or actually 0, because that's the other thing. They brought 0 in because college football had it. You know, what happened to the no fun league? That's what I miss. And hopefully, um, you know, hopefully he does it does settle in on a number, because I just think it's, even though the Flaherty family gave their blessing. Now, if it was somebody in my family that had a number retired, I would not do it. The guy's a fripp, he's a flipping rookie, a fucking rookie. So I just think you get a number that's available, you deal with it, and then if you want to change later on, hopefully you're not too much of a star where you have to buy all those uniforms because you want to change your number, then you do it. But it's just so stupid how these kids act nowadays. And I'm telling you to get off my lawn, and I'm the curmudgeon. You know, I don't care, but um, I just think that he could have went with another number if you ask me. But what do I know? Now, a guy that used to play for the New York Giants, Kadarius Toney, was cut by the Kansas City Chiefs the other day. Now, the Chiefs didn't get what they wanted long term from their midseason training with the Giants, um, but um, because of Tony's contributions in what for the Chiefs was one of the most glorious days in franchise history, General Manager Brett Veach felt the deal was one of the best he ever made. Hmm, You know, just because you had one shining moment, you had that punt return against the Eagles that, it was the best deal I ever made. Get the I don't think we're sitting here going for a third Super Bowl championship had we not made that trade. The deal that sent third and a sixth-round draft pick to the Giants. So from that standpoint, we did it all over again. We would do it all over again in a heartbeat. He played 20 regular season games for the Chiefs, caught 55 passes, scored 4 touchdowns. But those games were most notable for injuries and drop passes, and he was dropping passes left and right with the Giants as well. So it wasn't just a Kansas City thing. Um, Now in the Super Bowl, he did have a touchdown. And he set up another with a 65-yard punt return. Um, but the GM Veach also suggested. Um, I mean, he said that they really do like the kid, but he had a bunch of injuries. But he also suggested his workout habits were a reason for his failure with the Chiefs. He was not a consistent participant this year in the Chiefs' offseason practices. Sometimes you can make some bad luck turn to good by just doing some little things in the offseason to take care of your body. But but he did. But he was released. I haven't seen if he got picked up by anybody, whether it's for the practice squad or for the 53-man roster. But you know, I know Giants fans were on him until he got traded, and when the Chiefs picked him up in a trade, they were like, "Oh, thank God!" But it just seems like you know got very lucky, had a breakdown, was the recipient of a breakdown of the Eagles special teams coverage there. And, if the Eagles contain him, the Eagles probably win that game. Eagles have at least a second Super Bowl. But instead, some people are saying that the Eagles aren't going to do squat. I think otherwise. I'll let you know exactly uh, after I announce my schedule for next week. Um, but we'll see. And hopefully, you know, hopefully he does get another chance in the NFL, and I'm sure he will, because I'm sure somebody's going to get hurt because that's the way football is. People do get hurt. So um, now I did see this. Now it's not going to be along the lines of what the NFL does, where you had like Tom Brady, probable elbow, because because after a while the Patriots were basically mocking the NFL by announcing that Brady had an elbow issue, which was basically because he threw too many passes in a game. But the SEC will provide public reports on player availability for conference games in football, men's and women's basketball, and baseball starting this season. Uh, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey said the new policy is designed to curtail individuals who might try to seek information on injuries and suspensions from student athletes for gambling purposes. Yeah, so the people are always digging for that little bit of an edge, you know. Like for example, that one coach that got fired from Alabama a couple years ago, the baseball head baseball coach or manager, whatever you call him, wherever they call him in college sports. Um, he knew that his one starting pitcher was not going to start, or there was an injury, or whatever it was. So he told his friend about it. He was in a casino. He's talking to the coach on a casino, and basically, the goofball doesn't realize that you have a million cameras there because one, money is moving around all the time. And also, you want to catch somebody, like somebody counting cards at the blackjack table. You see that somebody's doing something to manipulate things. You try to keep everything on the up and up, and you just can't realize, you just can't, um, you know, you just can't do anything like that, and especially at a state like Ohio, which had just started sportsbook gambling a couple of years ago. I think this was a year or two ago when they were still um, in its infancy, and they were really. I mean, they're still going to crack down big time, but you have something that waves a red flag, you're going to stop it right away. I mean, that's why you see players getting year-long suspensions in the NFL, lifetime suspensions. The kid that played at Toronto, he got a lifetime ban because he was manipulating his stats because he bet against himself. And that's the thing. That's why you have um, you have those watchdog groups and these apps that you have to download with the app that you have because they want to track things so that everything is on the up and up. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to miss out on anybody doing something illegally, whether it's young age or you know anything that may pop up. But you know, but they're not going to mention what the injuries are. Uh, I don't think it's a HIPAA thing, but it's just the way that they're going to do it versus how the NFL does theirs and other professional sports. Now, the availability reporting policy is intended to reduce pressure from outside entities seeking participation information and represents a commitment of our 16 institutions to provide enhanced transparency to support efforts to protect our student athletes and the integrity of competition, uh, Sankey said in a statement. Now, at least he recognizes that there is going to be gambling. He recognizes it, especially SEC football, which is the top conference in college football. So they do have that. So the availability reports will be available 3 days before each conference football game, and then daily updates, including a final one 90 minutes before the kickoff. In basketball and baseball, the availability reports will be filed with the SEC office the night before contests with an official update on game day. Under the terms of the policy, student athletes will be deemed available, probable, questionable, doubtful, or out in reports prior to game days. On final report, the players will be designated as available, game time decision, or out to provide additional clarity. Um, no specifics can be given as to why student athletes would be listed on the report, be it injury or otherwise. So, um, So there may still be some digging, but I think if there's an academics issue, it'll probably already be known. But I don't think it's anything to do with HIPAA. I just think that they want to keep some rights that the student athletes have. Now, if the schools fail to abide by the new rules, they will face potential penalties ranging from $25,000 for a first offense to $100,000 for third and further instances, and maximum penalties of 15 to 25,000 other sports that are subject to the rules. The Big Ten and the MAC are the only other conferences which have adopted league-wide availability reports. Those reports have two categories: questionable or out. Um, Now, Kirby Smart, the Georgia coach, is in favor of this new SEC policy. He said if it keeps the pressure off of our kids from people reaching out to them, trying to get information from betting sites and trying to gain information, there is no gain if you got accurate information. So it protects our kids. I'm in favor of it. And SECsports.com would be where you would get those reviews, get those updates. Um, so that would be an interesting thing here because of the fact that um, we're in this gambling age, and I think that you want to get the information out there because everything is on the up and up. Football has done it for years and years and years, and you know, I mean, hockey has done it for years, especially when the playoffs come around. But you have the tradition that hockey has where it's an upper body injury, it's a lower body injury, it's a penis injury. All right, they don't say it's a penis injury, but you get the idea. Um, but they do have different. Um, they do have. They have their way of doing things as well, and I think I think with baseball, if the injury is done on the field, I mean, you kind of know right away. If it's a hamstring or a calf injury, you know that they're done for a little bit. If it's an elbow, you might have to worry about Tommy John. But different. I mean, they will tell you probable, questionable, but it's starting to happen in college football you know. I mean, if it's something to keep the kids away from being um, away from all the uh, harassment of, hey, is so and so playing this weekend? You know, anything you can do where you can focus on the games and, God forbid, your studies in school. I'm all for it. I don't have a problem with that. So now they did. Rob Thompson did address the injury here, but I did not see any. I didn't get to turn it up because I was actually because I'm on here, and you don't need to hear background noise. Um, um, just looking to see if there's anything else here. Um, mm, Nothing on this article about Bohm. Okay, so there's nothing new off of that. Let me just check here as well because I want to make sure if there's any news that has come out here. We do. Uh, Uh, and by the way, also, Taiwan Walker has been demoted to the bullpen. Thank God. Um, he got lit up like a Christmas tree by the Houston Astros yesterday. Um, I am hoping. I was hoping that he would be DFA'd, especially if just to say that he was, you know, basically, you know, get out of here. But he's going to be in the bullpen. I imagine he's going to be in the role of Dylan Covey last year, where he would be the mop up guy, which be fitting for him because he sucks ass this year. This season's a lost season, and maybe you try to trade him in the off season. I don't know what you can get for him. Probably a roll of toilet paper. You probably have to eat most of the salary when you trade him. Um, but he's been horrible all year. So they're probably going to bring up Tyler Phillips on Tuesday when the Phillies are in Toronto. And I believe that eventually, because Colby Allard was brought up for Sunday's game, and that alone, little did they know that Walker would suck again yesterday. So they did what they had to do, put him in the bullpen, and but personally, I would have DFA'd him, which means designated for assignment for those that are watching and be like, what the hell is he saying DFA for? So basically, my opinion when it comes to Taiwan Walker, he did not pitch in the postseason last year, but he was there in the dugout the whole playoff run. Now, he did badmouth the Phillies after they lost in the league championship series to Arizona. Now, if he felt that he could help the team win, why were you not in the bullpen? You were too busy in that dugout, just standing around doing nothing, instead of telling Rob Thompson, um, Caleb Cotham, the pitching coach, that hey, I want the ball, or if you need me to pitch a couple innings, I am out here waiting for you guys. Instead, he just collected dust on the in the dugout. Now, I think he had an injury towards the end of the year, so he would have been limited anyway. But you know, if you need him for an inning or two, if a game's out of hand or whatever, then he could have been that guy. But he just did not seem like he wanted to be pitching unless he was still too injured to pitch, but they have him on the roster just because they need an arm just in case. So, but he does have, um, he's my patience on him has worn very thin, and I really hope that they find a way to trade him in the off season. But uh, but I doubt that that's going to happen. But um, but Walker is down the bullpen, and we're waiting to hear what happens with Alec Bohm. I did not hear the post game press conference. I don't know what was said there because I had the volume down, so you guys don't get distracted with all the background noise. But we'll see what happens. So now, before I get to the picks, I do want to let you guys know about my schedule next week. Now, obviously, I'm not going to stream on Monday because that's the holiday. Um, I have to get my football picks, my who I think is going to win each division, all that stuff with the NFL. I got to get that done sometime before the season starts on Thursday. And the only day I really have that would be something a day that I can do this is not Saturday, on Sunday, September 1st. So I don't know when I'm going to start. Um, I'm thinking potentially 6 o'clock, and part of the reason why is I can't do too early. Well, I can do earlier in the day, but the only thing is you get to a point in the afternoon where the sun's coming in from that window here, and it'll be really hard for you guys to see because of all the background stuff. Um, so I'm leaning towards a 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock where we just have fun. I'm not really going to have a script other than the NFL football stuff, and you know, we can go from there. Um, you know, so I'm thinking around 7 o'clock on Sunday, so I can get my picks out there for the year. Who I think will get to the Super Bowl, who will win the division, who will be the wild cards, all that stuff. So I'm leaning towards a 7 p.m. post on um, 7 o'clock stream on Sunday, because if we run long and Action Labs has their stream, I can just go right to their stream because part of growing the brand, especially on Twitch, is to raid other parties. So that would be the goal that I would have there. So that is the plan for Sunday. I am going to be taking off Tuesday and Wednesday. I have so much stuff that has to be done away from here that I am not going to have a stream those 2 nights. And also I'm going to take a couple of days off so we can be ready for um, the debut of the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network on September the 9th. We're going to be there, and I'm going to have 2 shows on there. I'm going to have my show Monday to Thursday. So once the 9th comes around, we will be doing 4 days a week. Now, I have a vacation in terms of work starting the 11th, and that will be that's almost 2 weeks of vacation. Now, I am not going anywhere. So those nights that I am not going to those nights that I am not working because I'm on vacation, I will still be here. I let AJ know because the one thing is with AJ is he has to tell me, and he's done it, I think, 3 times already. When we were in Vegas, um, he said no more articles. I said, okay, well, I'm I'm already set up for up to a certain day. Okay, I'll post them. I'll set it up for you. That was back when he was posting for me. Now I post them myself. So sometimes you get that post like 2 o'clock in the afternoon because it's a night race, because it gives me a little extra time when a night track is the race of the day. Um, so AJ is the type of person that has to tell me sometimes, dude, I do not want to see an article from you. He did that to me when I went to Seattle as well, which was kind of interesting because I could have wrote about the races at Emerald Downs, you know, but I didn't. So I took a couple of days off from that. Um, and when we went up to North Jersey, because I'm going through all my stats here as well, because of all those stats and everything like that, um, May's stats are very, very light because I had 2 breaks in the month of May. So, and then there was a couple of days I was off in July because I had my tooth issue. And basically, now granted, I could probably say that, hey, these articles were written before um, before I called out sick. Well, I could have done that, because the one thing I will tell you is, because I need to protect the the pension that I have, you know, you know, making sure I don't lose everything that I've built from the years I've worked at my job. I have to play it safe and say, "Hey, I called out sick from work today. I actually had to use a sick day. I'm not going to I'm not going to be on tonight because I called out sick, so I cannot stream because if I stream, then they'll say, "Well, you're too sick to work, but you're not sick enough to do this." So that's why I just play it safe and say, "I call out sick, there's no show." So, and that's a good reason why if you're watching on Twitch or you're watching on YouTube, uh, during watching it live or watching after the fact, follow me on X at Joe Quills, and you will see ahead of time, did I cancel? Did I not cancel? And usually I know well ahead of time because, um, like when I was having the issues with my dad, a lot of the stuff that was happening was last minute. I was trying to get things pretty much I was trying to get them pretty much as soon as possible to you guys. Try to get as far out as possible. And sometimes, you know, you're planning a stream to start at 9 and you get a text from somebody at 6:30, "Oh, you have to get to the hospital." "Oh, well, give me about 20 minutes. Let me tell somebody that I have to leave. I got no choice in the matter. This is what's going on." Blah blah blah. Boom, I'm gone. And then I have to cancel, blah blah blah. So, um, but yeah, but basically, if I actually call out sick, I will not be hosting because I need to protect what I've built from the years I've worked at my job. So that is very important. But but I have a couple of things I have to do on Tuesday night and on Wednesday night. So there's no streams. So we will have a stream on Thursday, which is September the 5th, because we have a Friday the 15th this month. Yeah, Thursday is the 5th. Now it won't necessarily be a um, it won't necessarily be a sidecast, but I will be watching the games with you. I'll be giving you some updates, but for the most part, it will be me just doing my normal routine. So we'll have streams on Sunday and Thursday. We're also going to have also eligible on Saturday, and I think I am going to do a side stream Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening with the three big races from Del Mar. So that may be on the Bleacher Brothers network as well. Um, Also, finally, Friday, September the 6th, there will be an Eagles sidecast. So I encourage you to join me Friday night, September the 6th. That is an 8 o'clock start. I get done work at 7:30, so perfect timing. And hopefully, I'll have my horse racing stuff ready for that Saturday because if not, I am going to be screwed. But 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 the one thing is, the reason why I do this is because this is my decompression from a tough day at work. And who knows what the shows are going to be like from the 11th to the 23rd because I may be bouncing off the walls because of the fact that I be um, working because I won't have work beating down on me all the time. So who knows how I'll be acting. Probably like Robin Williams in his heyday. Whatever that is. And thankfully, I don't think SJ's here, so she will not be able to clip that, but she may clip it after the fact. But anyways, so for the next 10 days, there's going to be a stream on Saturday. That's the Bleacher Brothers show, also eligible. That's going to be on the Bleacher Brothers network. Sunday, probably 7 o'clock. I'll do a stream. I'll give you my thoughts on the football season ahead. Give you my picks. Who will win divisions? Who will win wild cards? Basically, it's the give 'em a win dog, give 'em a lost dog show. So that'll be at 7 o'clock. Then we're going to take off Memorial Day. Memorial Day, dear Jesus. We're going to take off Labor Day. We're going to take off Tuesday. We're going to take off Wednesday. And we will be back on Thursday with a regular show. Friday will be a special sidecast of the Eagles opener down in Brazil. Brazil! And then we'll do then Saturday will be my also eligible show. And we'll be ready to go. We'll be all ready to go for the 9th when the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network debuts. And can't wait for that to start. So now let's get to the picks here for this weekend. I just got 3 games here. So um, okay, so I didn't see anything there. Colorado's up 24-20 on North Dakota State. Just to let you know with that. So let me go over here. So I got 3 games here for you. And just to let you guys know before we start here, um, if you feel like you have a gambling problem, dial 1-800-GAMBLER. Uh, I try to take it. I try to take it a step beyond that and say, hey, make sure um, all your bills are paid. Make sure that what you do here is, um, money that you can burn, because last thing I want to see is somebody getting into trouble because financial trouble because I said to take North Dakota State tonight, for example. Always bet within your means. And there is no shame in betting $5 as opposed to 50 or 100 or whatever the high rollers bet. You know, you know, $5. If $5 is what you feel most comfortable with, bet $5. If it's 20, 25, that's fine too. So that's the one thing I would tell you is always bet within your means. So let me get here for you. Um, now I apologize for yawning. That coffee did not wake me up one bit tonight. Okay, so let me share my screen here, and I'm going to have to adjust the font on it once we get there. So, um, and also go to the Bleacher Brothers page. Go to the Bleacher Brothers bet section, because if you're looking to sign up with a sports book, use one of our ads on our webpage. I showed it to you on Tuesday night. Um, you know, there's all kinds of promotions that are out there because everybody wants your gambling dollar, and you check it out. One thing I would say before you do that is random, just search certain web web check the, like, BetMGM, Bet365, Caesars. Make sure they're available in your area first, because I'd rather see you check that out and see, okay, yeah, they are available in my area, or no, they're not available. Because, like, some of the stuff that we promote beyond um, the sports betting, I can't use here in Pennsylvania. So So the one thing I would tell you is check that because you may live in a state that does not have access to certain gambling websites or apps. So check that out as well. So now we're going to get into the picks here for the weekend. And I got three games here for you. We're going to begin with a Friday night game after I zoom in on this a little bit. Um, yeah, that looks good. So Temple goes to Oklahoma. They're going to get paid for being a sacrificial lamb here. Oklahoma's playing their first game as a member of the SEC, and this is going to be ugly. Plain and simple. It's going to be ugly. And Oklahoma may win this by 70. Now, granted, like I told you last week with Hawaii and Delaware State, I I usually do not touch these insanely large lines, but Oklahoma is a major favorite here, rightfully so. Probably going to make the they're probably going to make the playoffs here, whereas Temple may not even win a game this year. So we'll take Oklahoma here, minus 42 at minus 112. And that is going to be a major blowout because, I just don't see Temple being anywhere close to Oklahoma. I mean, I think it's going to be Oklahoma and Temple. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 70-7 at the end. But take Oklahoma minus the 42 points, and we'll see what happens there. Um, I probably should pick Florida State, Michigan State, Florida Atlantic, but I'm not going to. Um, let's begin with the team and school that I despise the most, Penn State. Okay, now you know it is a big game in Morgantown when College Game Day is there, I believe. Uh, Pat McAfee show is going to be there tomorrow. When the school district closes their schools on Friday you have a because you have a crush of fans there for this matchup and all the media attention that this is getting, it's a big deal. And West Virginia, probably on a normal week without ESPN going to be there, Pat McAfee show, whatever, I really think Penn State would blow them out. But I think with all the media hype and the crowd getting um, really getting uh, up for this game, and it's the home opener. I really think West Virginia has a great chance to pull up this upset to begin the year, and nothing would make me happier than seeing Penn State get upset by West Virginia. And I am going to tell you right now that +8, you don't need the 8 points. West Virginia upsets here. And in 9 months, well, 2 years and 9 months, their offspring are going to be asking, Mommy and Daddy, are you two brother and sister? Well, whether you believe that they inbreed in West Virginia or not, that's a topic for another day. But I'm going to take West Virginia on the money line at +250. Um, trying to see something here. Oh, I'm not logged in. That's why. Okay. Well, so it doesn't show the money line here, but it's +250 here. The other game is a 3:30 game. Um, Florida is a home dog to Miami. and I I kind of heard um, fellow Bleacher brother Ravi Listella on his show last night that the Florida Gators have won like 30 some home openers in a row. Now that's a strong number. Now, granted, a lot of those games are probably Temple, uh, Northwest State, Southern Campus, or some stuff like that. So that is probably the case there. But I'll tell you right now, that's a strong that's a strong trend there. And be interesting to see what Miami does this year. They may have a potential being a team on the outside right now who could get into the playoffs here. But I really think a strong trend like Florida is the play here. And they're playing in the swamp. It's going to be a 3:30 game. They're going to be crazy, crazier than normal. Let's go with Florida at plus 114. So, so my three plays for this weekend, I will scroll up and then scroll down just for letting you know. Oklahoma minus 42 at minus 112. West Virginia plus 250 on the money line. And Florida plus 114. Don't worry about that 2.5 points. You're getting into a point there where if it was 1.5 or 1 point, I would tell you why play the point spread when you can play the money line, and that's something that will probably come up during the year. So those are the three games I have for this weekend, and I will let you know how I do on Sunday. Uh, so so that's our three picks for the weekend. So the three picks are Oklahoma, West Virginia, and Florida. If you want to put them in a parlay, go right ahead. I'm not going to tell you to do it. I'm not doing it. And also, this is rent week, so I won't. I probably won't be playing them anyway. But if I had extra money, that's what I'd be doing because, sometimes, and like I tell you from the very beginning here, the segment, bet within your means. It's okay if you miss a wager. You might want to kick yourself in the ass for teams winning. I know I was kicking my ass yesterday because I lost track of time and didn't play. Totally justified in that juvenile stakes race on the turf at Saratoga. Hey, it happens. But, you know, I'll tell you what, if you really want to the one thing I would say is more than anything else, make sure everything is in control financially before you put any money down because most people do lose here. I know I probably lost a bunch of money this year. I try to keep track because I like to for the ego boost of hey, I'm ahead this much so far in 2024. Or, hey, I'm still ahead for the year. Something like that. But I lost track of I get sidetracked and don't do anything. But um, so I think I'm going to call it a night. And I do appreciate everybody who's watching on Twitch, Bank Boy, anybody who's watching that came in and out while I was doing the show, and everybody that's watching on X and on YouTube. And we'll do it live Sunday evening. We're leaning towards a 7 o'clock start. Check out my ex at Joe Quills if you're on Twitch or YouTube. I'll let you know when I'll be on the air. Probably be later. It'll be early evening because the whole light factor coming in here because the way I'm situated in this apartment building. So that is it. I do appreciate everybody. We'll have those picks on Sunday, and let's go Oklahoma, West Virginia, and Florida. Beat Penn State. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you on Sunday evening. Good night, everybody.